and president of Dion's Chicago Dream.
Hasn't been a podium that can hold me, and so we're not gonna worry about that. Listen, good morning. How's everybody doing? It's nice. See a little color. Thank you to everybody that decided to do the color with me. It's like, yeah, guy in the yellow, I see you. Okay, you're my spirit animal today. I like that. Oh man, listen. I was brought here to inspire, to motivate, to leave you on the edge of your seat. But before I say anything, I want you to try something. Everyone in this room has a title, right? Professor, founder, investor, student, executive, advocate. But for the next few minutes, I want you to put that down. I want you to quietly just set your title down. Everybody act like you have a title in your hand. Come on. And I want you to just put it down, okay? All right? Good. Because the future here today that we're talking about is not built by titles. It's actually built by people. People willing to step slightly outside of the job description they were given. People willing to say two of the most powerful words in leadership. Yes, and. Yes, and what else is possible? Yes, and what else should be at the table, or who else should be at the table? Yes, and what would this look like if we actually tried? Because, that mindset, yes, and, is where innovation actually lives. Let me start with, why we're really here, right? This room is sold out. Great job, team. Not because there's a shortage of conferences. There are plenty of those. We're here because something in the world right now feels unfinished. We can feel it. We can hold it. Institutions are being questioned. Systems are being stretched. Communities are asking harder questions. And the old answers aren't working the way that they used to. So gatherings like this, they begin to mean something different. They become a lab, a place where leaders from different sectors sit in the same room and ask, what if the future requires more than the imagination and the titles I've asked you to temporarily sit down allow? Now, for a long time, we've divided leadership into two categories a lot of the time. Government leaders, business leaders, nonprofit leaders, academic leaders. Clean lines with clear boxes. But the problems we're facing right now, they don't respect those boxes. Food insecurity doesn't care about work in the government or what you did yesterday. Climate change doesn't check the sector that you're from before showing up. Public health doesn't ask whether your budget came from philanthropy or the market. The problems are interconnected, which means the solutions must be interconnected too. And that requires a different type of leadership. Not louder leadership, not more performative leadership. Leadership that understands something simple but powerful. The future is really built by more than one sector acting alone. It's built by unlikely partnerships. I've seen this firsthand in my work. I started an organization during the pandemic with $100 from my mom. So if there's a crazy lady on the South Side saying she owns a nonprofit, we know that's illegal. You just go with it, okay? You just go with it. At the time, it didn't look like innovation. It looked like urgency. It didn't feel like it was scalable. It felt like something small. Fridge on the side of the liquor store, boxes on the floor, phone calls at midnight, trying to figure out how to get fresh food into communities that have been overlooked for decades. But what happened next was the real lesson. Healthcare systems got involved. Corporations leaned in. Individual donors stepped up. Academics studied the model, and suddenly something that began as a small idea in a moment of crisis became a multi-sector ecosystem. That's when I realized it. Innovation rarely starts in the boardroom. It starts in motion. Innovation is what happens when someone moves before the plan is perfect, and then others join. If you want to forge the future, you have to be willing to act before certainty arrives. That takes courage. And courage is one of the most misunderstood things when it comes to leadership. We tend to think courage means being fearless. But the leaders I admire most aren't fearless. They're faithful. Faithful to the possibility they can see before others can. Faithful to the idea that systems can evolve. Faithful enough to say yes and when the room says maybe later. Many of the people in this room have influence. You shape institutions. You allocate resources. You teach the next generation, which means you are not just participants in the future. You are authors of it. And authors face a very specific responsibility. We don't just describe the world we live in. We don't just describe the world as it is. We decide what the next chapter will be. 3 words that I think would define the leaders who shape the next decade. If I were using slides today, they would be up there. Imagine, build, share. First, imagine. Every meaningful breakthrough begins with someone willing to ask a better question, not what's realistic, but what's possible. Second, build. Ideas are important, but the future belongs to the builders. Builders of systems, builders of partnerships, builders of solutions that actually reach people. And third, share. Because the most powerful innovations are not the ones we protect. They're the ones that we scale. They're the ones we invite others in on. They're the ones that spread. That's the ripple effect of leadership. One action sparks another. One collaboration opens another door. One courageous idea makes the next one easier. And before you know it, things that seemed impossible 5 years ago, 10 years ago, they become the norm. Now, before I close, I want to bring us back to something important. Every person in this room arrived here through a different path, different sectors, different experiences, different vantage points. Which means that at some point today, maybe during a panel, maybe over coffee, maybe in the hallway conversation that, ends up being one of the best things you do when you go to places like these, you're going to meet someone you weren't expecting to collaborate with. And the easiest thing to do would be to keep the conversation polite. Exchange cards, nod, move on. But forging the future requires something different. It requires curiosity. It requires courage. It requires someone saying, wait a minute, what if we actually tried something together? So here's my invitation for you today. Don't spend today protecting your expertise. Spend today expanding it. Don't stay inside of the sector. Don't stay inside of the sector you came from. Step into the intersection. Because the future rarely emerges from the center of our comfort zones. Okay? It emerges from the edges where different perspectives can meet. And if we do this well, if we lean into imagination, if we build together, if we share boldly, then something powerful can and will happen. The future stops feeling like something we're waiting for and starts to become something we're actively creating. So as this day begins, as conversations unfold, as ideas collide, I hope we remember something simple. The future is not forged by people who wait for permission. It's forged by people who show up ready to collaborate, innovate, and act with unshakable faith. People like the ones in this room, with faith as unshakable as you were when you sat in the chair you're sitting in. So as we get to work, do me a favor. I need everybody to scoot to the front of your chair for me. Everybody scoot to the front of your chair. Notice that this same chair didn't have to be treated or tested or questioned. It served its mission. Now I need you to go serve yours. And I can say I left you all on the edge of your seat. Thank you.